Battlefield 2042 is getting a Season 7. It is now confirmed to have multiple maps and will be launching in March 2024. Let's talk about it. Okay, so DICE has been taking 2042 fans on an emotional roller coaster this past year. Players never knowing if the next season will be the last, and then the game randomly exploding with record player numbers due to some free weekends and awesome sales. It's been a wild ride for this game, and 2042 has never had a more regularly active player base than it has right now, and DICE confirmed that more content will be dropping with a brand new Season 7 in March. The tweet they released today reads as follows. So yes, Season 7 for Battlefield 2042 will be in your hands in March. It'll be a massive season packed with a whole load of fresh content, including maps. Enjoy the Holiday Protocol event, and we'll see you in the new year. Now, pretty much the only concrete bit of information regarding this content is that it will have maps. That's right, you heard me correctly. That was an S on the end of the word map. There will be more than one map. Now, when DICE gives us one map per season over and over and over and over again, getting more than one seems like, well, the royal treatment at this point. As long as you don't, look at any previous Battlefield games DLC content, it seems like a luxury. Now, of course, the question comes up, does maps mean more than 2 maps? Who knows? That would be absolute chaos if they gave us 3, or dare I even dream of 4 maps. This isn't Battlefield 4, or maybe we should really reduce our DLC expectations, but there was another leading bit of info in the tweet. It'll be a massive season packed with a whole load of fresh content. The words used here are very deliberate in my opinion, and I feel like 2 maps might not qualify as massive. 3 or even 4 maps I think would fit that description much better. Plus, the load of content likely means more weapons, vehicles, skins, etc. No new specialists though, as I think DICE have pretty much wrapped up that aspect of the game, so as long as they're putting their efforts into weapons and skins and stuff like that, I'll be pretty happy. Now, as far as I can tell, there haven't been any legitimate leaks on what this content might be, but we can certainly speculate. For example, if I were in charge of Battlefield 2042's content plans, I'd go for the easy win. Classic map remasters. Maps that have already proven to be incredibly popular in past titles, have an established layout, so a lot of the design work is already done for you, and all you gotta do is rebuild them in the new engine with 2042 style assets. It's not work, but it's certainly easier in the sense that you don't have to come up with brand new layouts and test and test and test. If you remember my video where I got to interview the map designers on the recent Redacted map, they mentioned how much testing went on to get the flow and pacing to feel right. And it ended up being like a science, and they really had to change a lot of the map as they went along, just with designing the basic layout. So being able to skip over that major element of the design phase would certainly allow them to spend more time making the maps and possibly get us more maps. Plus, another major win for doing remastered maps is getting Battlefield fanboys hyped up. I'd certainly be one of them. A Wake Island remaster? Yes, please. Metro remaster? Why not? A way back to Karkand expansion? Sure, that would be dope. How about a Grand Bazaar for the old Battlefield 3 days? There's so many options that would get me excited. Much more so than, honestly, entirely new map content. Not that new content is a bad thing, but come on, we need some remasters in the Battlefield 2042 base game already. Now, getting the official news that Season 7 is real and not just in my dreams is fantastic. Not getting to play it until March kind of sucks though. DICE seems to be planning things one step at a time here, because if Season 7 was planned from, before Season 6's launch, it seems like they probably would have been much further along with its progress. At this point, it seems like there's going to be 5.5 months between Season 6 and Season 7 launching. That's almost half a year. It's a long time to wait. DICE, please. It's 2023. Gamers have the attention span of goldfishes. Everyone who's hopped on for the Season 6 sale is gonna be playing Hello Kitty Island Adventure by the time Season 7 drops. And once you start playing Hikia, you don't come back. Honestly, I think DICE was probably just as surprised as the rest of us when 2042 exploded again after the recent sale. It probably altered their plans quite a bit, which, don't get me wrong, I'm very happy about. You gotta keep that 2042 content coming, keep players engaged, and then when you announce the next big game, you have a large player base who's really engaged and cares much more about it. In the meantime, DICE is doing their best to try and keep the player base engaged with the current content. They currently have the holiday protocol going on for the Season 6, which is 4 weeks of game modes and cosmetic unlocks, so if you want to wear those ugly Christmas sweaters in game, you can do that. You can even paint your tank with an ugly Christmas sweater. Plus, they've got those creepy elves back, and honestly, they're much creepier than before. This is not a bad looking event. I think DICE has definitely stepped up their seasonal event game, much more so than some of the early seasons where it was just like a simple game mode with no new assets and the cosmetics were kind of throwaway or barely anything. They've really gotten the message, they've stepped up their game, they've refined the process, and in many ways it seems like DICE is just sort of learning how to evolve Battlefield into a modern gaming platform, how to do it as a live service game so that they'll be ready by the time the next one rolls around. Now, interestingly, when it comes to live service and Battlefield, there's still a lot of people that prefer the old school premium / paid DLC model. I made a tweet about a week ago where I just asked people what they wanted. We put up a poll, and over 50% of the people responding to the poll still said that they would prefer premium / paid DLC versus the Battle Pass and free content approach that 2042 is taking. It's interesting because I don't share the opinion of the majority here. I actually think that if DICE sticks with the Battle Pass plus free content approach, they can ultimately deliver a better product. There's a lot of games that do live service well. It's just an art form, and I think DICE just has really failed at the live service approach with their past several titles and are finally kind of starting to get the message, but we'll really see what they can deliver with the quantity of maps in the next season. The thing that always bugged me about the paid DLC approach from, like, say, Battlefield 4 was that you'd link up with friends and they wouldn't have the same DLC as you, and then you'd have to find servers that you could play on, but the ones with DLC enabled you couldn't play on, and it just really got complicated, and then ultimately you ended up seeing the majority of the servers just on the base game content so that they could populate themselves. And as time went on, it became harder and harder to find servers running the specific DLC content you might be looking for, and something that you paid $15 for or bought the premium pass for would be something that would come up in rotation very rarely. So it just felt like you weren't really getting your money's worth over time, if that makes sense. Anyway, all the news and evidence of all these different studios working on different aspects of the next Battlefield franchise iteration, main game, multiple game platform, we don't really know. I think it's going to be a very different approach compared to what players have seen in the past. So I don't think it's going to be your classic Battlefield 4 Premium, and I think it might even be a bit different from what 2042 has right now. Only time will tell. But let me know in the comments what you think about the Season 7 announcement. Is March too long to wait? Are you excited to hear multiple maps? What kind of maps do you want to see most? And up next, check out my redacted video on the Battlefield dev interview where they talk about the process of designing a new map. I think you'll like it. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap signing off.